Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome, welcome. I'm Darcie from StickyBee, and it's the place to be, and I'm going to share some cool kind of ideas with you today, and I'm going to share with you live once a week. So we're going to go from now to wow, and this is for, well, it's for season disruptors. So I got to ask you, like, is this for you? Are you a season disruptor? And the question is kind of an interesting one to ask because it's for women of a certain age. And frankly, we've been around the block a few times. And we've probably even built a few blocks. But you gotta refuse to play small as we move into our second act, because despite the world being obsessed with shiny and new, frankly, it's really more about us and what we can offer. So if you're wise enough to know the rules and bold enough to rewrite them, if you're tech curious and perhaps a little tech shy, but quite prepared to be a forever learner, and you're learning how to leverage the AI, if you're purpose driven, and that's not about chasing the trends, that's about setting a new tone for what leadership, creativity, and influence look like after 50. And if you're unapologetically visible. Now, one of the big complaints about a seasoned disruptor of a certain age is that they feel like they're invisible. So we're going to change that. So what's a seasoned disruptor? Well, in short, a seasoned disruptor is an experienced woman who turns wisdom into rebellion, reinvention, and influence with visibility to her superpower. So join me for these next kind of short few minutes, and I want to share some new things with you. So let me just get my setup happening here. Give me just a second, and as they say, you know, it's about chewing gum and walking at the same time. Okay, so here we go. Now, I kind of suspect that some of you seasoned disruptors may be a little mad as hell and you're not going to take it anymore. And that kind of energy is a really good thing to bring to the table. And if you're 50 plus, you've probably seen the movie Network with Peter Finch, and he screamed out the window, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore." Well, I urge you not to scream out the window. I urge you to actually set some things in motion so that people start taking notice of you without you having to scream. Now, when we were first kind of putting our brand together, when we were launching ourselves into these social media platforms, it was really all about getting prospects to flock to you like sheep. And it used to be all about the followers, but and we would be busy crafting content and constantly feeding the dragon before the dragon set fire to that content. But things have changed, and I'm sure you've noticed it too. You're not getting much engagement on your posts. You're not getting people to comment and like. You're not getting shares like you used to. And the reason for that is, well, frankly, no matter what social media platform you're on, the AI crashed the party and they changed the algorithm. So it used to be that he who had or she who had the most followers won, and it was a race to get more and more followers. But now it's all about the content that you're crafting needs to get engagement. And the reason for that is all of these social media platforms, of which you're not paying for, but they want you to get engagement, because that means your audience is, you've got the eyeballs. They're sticking on your content. They're spending more time. And then these social media platforms can leverage the time spent on your content and expose them to some advertising. However, there is a whole new reason to know who your customer is, because this is all about getting engagement. And engagement isn't something that just happens in the snap of your fingers. You really have to understand who your audience is and craft content that connects with them. Because the other problem with AI is that we're getting so much AI content on our social media platforms that, frankly, it's kind of all looking the same. And it does ask the question, or make one wonder, is there any creativity out there? Because we've lost, many of us have lost that reach out and touch human connection. And that's one of the reasons I'm going to start doing a number of lives once a week to work with folks in changing how they craft their content. So AI really isn't the problem, and it's not about the access, and the challenge is not technology. It's about the human connection and how we're using it, or frankly, how we're not using it. So this means you've got to throw yourself into the content that you're crafting. So what happens with AI is the machine can help us create stuff. And I use it every day, and I love, 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 love what it can do for and with me. But it cannot replace soul. And soul is that essence of you, because when they created you, they threw away the mold. So there's no one else out there like you. So when people wonder, why choose you? It's through your connection with your audience that makes that choice very easy. And so we're faced kind of with a challenge that the more AI in the mix, that we need, each of us, if we want to get exposure in the news feed, to create a mix of authentic human storytelling, because that is our competitive advantage. That's our edge. So when we talk about storytelling, we say, well, let's begin with a story. And that story needs to start with your brand. It needs to continue with your audience connection. So who is your audience? Who are you trying to attract? What kind of stories might interest them? And you've got to become a pretty good storyteller. And one of the ways that we can create some good stories is to get our audience laughing. Because the thing about laughter is, it's kind of, if it's contagious. You get somebody laughing, and suddenly you're all speaking the same language. And the fact of the matter is, it triggers those endorphins. So you too can become a dopamine dealer, getting people to laugh and giggle and make them kind of feel full of energy and have some fun. I mean, that laughter is the best way to connect with your audience. But another way also too is curiosity. And the thing about curiosity is it ebbs and flows. And so if you can get someone curious about something and just give them enough information to get them to kind of tune in next week or to be curious about what that answer might be, it's kind of like scratching an itch. And the other thing that's really interesting about curiosity, when you can craft content that makes your audience curious, is curiosity doesn't begin when we're kids and end when we as we age. It's an instinct, not unlike laughter, that doesn't diminish with age. So when we talk about storytelling, I think that I believe that there's only really three kinds of storytelling content that we craft. And we want to either educate our target audience, entertain our target audience, or empathize with them. Now, that's not about sympathy. It's not sympathize, it's empathize. And each one of these three magical E's are incredibly powerful when you know how to weave them. Now, we don't want every piece of content to be educational, nor do we want them all to be funny and entertaining, nor do we want them all to be about the empathy that you have for your audience. So I keep talking about your audience, your target audience. Who is your ideal customer? And you really need to understand their idiosyncrasies, what they're all about, what interests them. And interest is the big thing that these social media platforms are looking for. What is your audience interested in? And how can you get them interested in what you have to say so they stay on your platform and on your content? And as soon as you get that formula working for you, the platform's going to give you more reach. So in other words, what's going to happen is the platform's going to give you more exposure in the newsfeed. And that's really what we're all after. And we have never kind of been in a place before where we've been given so many tools to be able to storytell. It's absolutely fascinating. And one of the ones that I've just sunk my teeth into is Sora. Now, Sora started out as being a Mac-only platform, a Mac-only device, and ChatGPT launched it, I guess we're kind of close to a month ago. And it used to be only for iPhones and on desktop on your Mac, but it's now launched into the world of Chrome, and anybody now can launch into Sora. And Sora allows you to storytell, but you've only got 10 seconds to storytell. However, what the fascinating thing is that you've got to grab your audience's attention in 3 seconds. And 3 seconds is like like the blink of an eye. So Sora gives you this awesome platform to suddenly create movies. And you've got all these tools to use if you're so inclined to learn how to create descriptive language, fabulous prompts, and actually take your audience on a little bit of a journey. Now, I took the theme of empathy when I've created about 3 Sora stories in this particular vein about being a crone. And a crone is a gal full of wisdom when she reaches that woman of a certain age. And I took that idea and crafted some stories in Sora. And as I say, they're only 10 seconds long. But what's happened in terms of my audience is that I've been able to really boost my presence in front of my audience. So let me just share with you kind of what this is all about. This is one of the videos that I did in the series, and it's all about being a season disruptor and time to stop being invisible. Now, as I say, it's a 10-second video, but the average view time is 22 seconds. So what that means then is people are watching it more than once, which is absolutely fantastic. And the other thing that's great is I've had 636 views on this little 10-second video. And in terms of who they are, 57% of my viewers are non-followers and 43% are followers. So what's good about this statistic is the algorithm, being this is on Facebook. Facebook has decided that I have audience interest, and they've said, okay, you've got eyeballs on a 10-second video that actually people are watching. It appears more than once, so we're going to give you more reach in the news feed. So in other words, I'm getting a lot of people looking at my content who are not my followers, which is a great proposition. So this is one of the things that we want everybody to be doing. So let me just come back here and out of that one, and I will put this one up. So I want to share with you kind of how this little video works, and I just need to get something else set up here, so bear with me for a minute. There we go. So this is my personal page. And if I scroll down, I'm going to come back to that video in just a second. But if I scroll down here, I've put this video up here. Here it is here. Now, this one, let me just see if I can get the sound on it. Tomorrow with our wisdom and vision. They said you're old and operating on outdated software, but there's room at the table for seasoned disrupt. We're here to reprogram the future as architects of tomorrow with our wisdom and vision. They said you're old and operating on outdated software, but there's room at the table for seasoned disrupt. We're here to reprogram the future as architects. So what's exciting about that is that I'm actually challenging my audience to join me. I'm challenging my audience to stop being invisible. And this is about empathizing, in that if folks are prepared to learn the technology, of which it's not that difficult anymore, and they're prepared to put themselves out there and tell some great stories that connect with their audience, which means they've done the research to find out exactly who their audience is. There are some wonderful opportunities to make that happen. And if I go back to another video that I just launched on Sora, so they can be in a multitude of themes, like what you've become essentially is a movie director, which is kind of quite exciting. So let me just show you this one here, and I need to be in here, and I need to turn my volume on.
Colors first, then my smile. Every step is a little rebellion. Dial isn't supposed to whisper. I want the room to feel my colors first, then my smile. Every step is a little rebellion.
So these videos have a tremendous amount of power to them. Now this particular video, let me see if I can step into it. I think I can. Here it is. Now this one only got, it has 17-second watch, but still and this one I just put up, so it has 488 views, and of those, essentially 70% are my followers and 30% are non-followers. but I've had 27 reactions and comments from it. So it's the engagement is coming into play, and it allows me, when people comment, it allows me to get them some feedback and connect with them. So let me share with you a couple more things here, because I want you to think about your brand. And branding is a whole kind of other part, or probably the most important part of how you're building your foundation. And so, the question is your brand story stale? And if you have a website, this is an awesome thing to consider. Now, this little program was just launched by Google. And what it does is you put your website into it, and it analyzes your website. So I'm going to use me and my website as the example. So bear with me here, and let me show you how this one works. Now, there we go. So this is called Pomelli, and it says here, let's get started. So okay, let's get started. So there we go. Now let me just see that it's showing for you. Yes, it is. Okay, now it's kind of leapt ahead here, so I should probably go back to my business DNA. So what it did is it asked me to put my website address in. So I've done that, and here is my website address. It's pulled up my logo, and it has pulled up my fonts. Now, these aren't necessarily my font color, but it's pulled up my font. And you'll see over on the right-hand side, it's pulled some images off my website. And it's got a picture of me in my steampunk outfit. And it's pulled out my brand colors. And it's pulled out my tagline, move from now to wow. And my brand values, expertise, deployment, influence, creativity, and transformation. And the transformation is right in the tagline, move from now to wow. The brand aesthetic is clean, professional simplicity, energetic, personalized, motivated. And here they've taken my writing, and they've said it's bold, witty, disruptive, energetic, and inspiring. And the overview is, this is a brand and content strategy service led by Darcie, specializing in visual storytelling and the entertisement method. Now, I would also say that everyone who is building a brand should probably also have their own frameworks, and I'll talk about entertisement in later weeks. It helps seasoned disruptors and women of a certain age to build brands, get noticed, and transform their business using AI, persuasive language, and buyer psychology to influence purchases. So it's done a critique of my website, and I think it's pretty bang on. And it's and then you can click up here into campaigns, which is over on the left hand side. And when you do that, you get it's given you given me a series of campaigns to put together. And you can ditch the snooze fest brand, stop whispering, start wowing. So if I click on that, I get another series of campaigns. I have used a couple of these hooks, but put different images in, and you can build on it. You can add to it. You can add your own creative. Describe the kind of creative that you want to make. It's a wonderful, wonderful little playground to play in. So I would really suggest that everybody give that a try. So the link for that is if you go to Pomelli by Google Labs, you'll be able to put your website in and get a little critique on how you're putting your program together, and also to figure out how you're going to be able to connect better with your audience and craft compelling content. Now, I'm going to do a little training once a week, and I hope you can join me. And in future weeks, I'll give a little heads up and say, okay, I'm launching now. Come join me and hear what I have to say for this week. So what we really want to do is actually kind of forget the squats, because the only thing you need to lift is your visibility. But what I want to have some fun with is actually taking your the kinds of things you should be doing to craft content and moving it into, consider this kind of like a workout for your brand, a workout for your visibility and your content creation. Because let's face it, and let's be honest, while your resumes are ripped, your relevance muscles maybe aren't as in good shape as they could be. They could maybe use a little stretch. So it's time to trade overwhelm for oomph. And every week we're going to be hitting the visibility gym. So I hope you join me, because there's no lycra required. And where your brand, voice, and confidence get the attention you've been missing. So stay tuned and join me next week, because we're going to start playing in that visibility gym. So I hope you got a little couple of ideas here about Sora and about Pomelli, 2 tools that will help you with your storytelling. But in order to storytell, you've got to have some good tales to tell, and you need to know who your audience is so you can get them interested. So thanks for joining me today. I'm Darcie from StickyBee. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.